Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is Adamo from Rossoneri TV, and today I will be reviewing the match against Atalanta, which ended 1-0 to Atalanta at the San Siro, which is pretty empty today. Looks like it was infested with ants. It wasn't the biggest turnouts for Milan. For obvious reasons, they haven't been performing well as of late. Now, I may seem a bit energetic, a bit little, jumpy, but really, deep down inside, I am hurting as much as you. I'm truly feeling this. No, but in all seriousness, I'm actually losing my mind from this team. All this joy and happiness, just a masquerade to heal the pain, if you get what I mean. I'm sure 99.9% of Milan fans are alcoholics. Obviously, that number has risen from our glory days where they didn't really drink alcohol. They drank espressino. Shout out to Tancredi, Palmieri. Anyways, but yeah, obviously I'm here to review the match, and I am not the happiest of campers because, again, we saw a similar performance to against Torino. We couldn't break the defense. We could not get through against Atalanta, which is not the best of defenses. Obviously, they have a solid team. They're not the best of teams. They haven't even been having a very good season, which is the most embarrassing point for Milan because we're beating teams or at least getting close to beating teams like Napoli, Rome, or Juve. But we struggle heavily against these mid-table teams. We lost to Atalanta, guys. Atalanta, Sassuolo, Torino, Atalanta, just to name a few. We have been dropping points. We only got 1 point out of 4 matches. That's embarrassing. We played Empoli, Palermo, and we drew. Didn't we lose to Palermo? That's my point. How are we struggling so highly? I understand these mid-table teams and relegation level teams. They're not easy to play, but come on, obviously you don't win every game against a lower class team. That obviously differs the difference between a team like Juventus, which they're the teams who can beat those lower level teams, and a team like Milan, for instance. But just not being able to beat any of them, it's embarrassing how that happens because we've been dropping so many points against these teams that really, I don't want to say don't deserve to take it off Milan because they completely do because they've been outplaying us. But I don't know how to describe this. I just feel we're lacking unity. And on the point of unity, Montolivo, I don't think he deserves the captaincy. Do I blame Milan for not taking it away from him? No, because it makes too much of a bit of a stir. I don't think it's really worth it. I think we should wait at least to the end of the season if you're going to do something like that. But I don't feel that Montolivo is the guy you look to be your captain. It's not the guy you talk to for advice. He's not the guy who motivates the team. Previously we had Ambrosini as our captain, which I think was a great captain. He was with Milan in the glory days. He knows how to win a match. He knows how to motivate players. Obviously, he wasn't the best of players. He had to go. He was getting old. I believe he went to Fiorentina after that. But it's just the fact that he was a symbol, somebody they look to, somebody they can lean on. Obviously, you can look at a team like Liverpool with Steven Gerrard, which may be on his way, or actually is pretty much confirmed to go like LA Galaxy at the end of the season. But you can just look up on YouTube the things that Steven Gerrard does to make his team do better. Obviously, there's all these things that, he didn't win the Premier League in his whole career, blah, 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 blah. But you cannot deny he was a great player and a great leader. When the team is getting down and, the coach, for Inzaghi, for example, is a bit too flustered, too many things coming at him, not making an excuse for Inzaghi because he could be doing much better in a situation. But when you're in that situation, the captain is the guy who needs to motivate the team. The captain is the guy who needs to make you and flick the switch when the coach can't do it. As I said, he's pretty much like the second-hand man to the coach besides the assistant manager. But yeah, I think we're missing unity, especially even when we attack. I think it's better when we attack with Pazzini in the middle. I do like Menez and how he, his dribbling. Obviously, he runs into walls too much. He's a bit too selfish. But the fact that he scores is something I do enjoy, obviously. Who doesn't like scoring? But it's just the fact that when we attack with Pazzini, it's more so the wingers playing off of Pazzini rather than Pazzini playing off of the wingers, if you get what I mean. He can hold up the play, and if they need him, he's in the middle box and they can cross him. Not the case with Menez. In fact, the complete opposite. He's not a guy who you play off of. He plays off of you. He wants the ball all the time, and he wants to try to do too much that he can handle. And I feel that's his issue. A lot of people talk about him pretty much dribbling into a wall, and he does. You just can't deny, although he scored a ton of goals for Milan this season, you just can't do that as a player. You need unity. As I said, unity is key. On the topic of unity and Milan's front three trio, it's just, I don't know if it really suits us because El Shaarawy, he's not selfish. He used to be selfish, but now he kind of dimmed down on it. But he's a winger who scores goals. He's not the winger who's just going to get tons of assists. He's a winger who scores goals. He's the guy who needs the ball to score. it's hard to explain, but it's like Barcelona kind of somehow. I don't know how they made it click, but they did. Or they got Neymar, which is somewhat of a selfish player. Messi, who it's Messi. Like, come on. Obviously, you're gonna give the ball to Messi, and Suarez, which is again not necessarily selfish players as Suarez. You know, he has tons of assists this season, but players that they're the guy you give the ball to score. They're not the guy you expect the ball from, if you get what I mean. But somehow Barca made it click. Hopefully Milan can make it click. That would be a blessing in disguise, really. But I feel not that we should play like Barcelona. I don't want to play tiki-taka football. I don't want to see that. I'll say I wouldn't mind it, but I don't want Milan to follow a team like Barcelona. But we should not even debate crossing the ball if you have Menez, El Shaarawy, and Cherchi as your front trio. Why would you cross the ball if not one of those guys can score a header for their life? Not to be against them, but that's not how they play. If you have Pazzini in the box, yes, cross the ball. Besides that, keep the ball on the ground. Even if you have Niang at right wing, of course you can cross the ball then, because sometimes he comes into the box. But when we play with Menez in the middle, the ball should not even leave the floor. It should stay on the floor. We should be playing 1-2 passes, and the front three need to play as a unit. They're playing as individuals. They're going for their own stats. They're going for their own goals, and that's what they're playing. Obviously, Cherchi just got on here. You can't really blame Cherchi. It's more so directed at Menez. El Shaarawy is trying to, pass the ball off and such, but it's not really working for him. But yeah, we just need to play with unity. I just feel that's the key to Milan. And sadly, we have no backup plan to that. It's a shame that we rely so heavily on Grinta and unity, which every team does, but all big clubs have a backup plan. Obviously, Louis van Gaal, or Van Gaal, however you want to pronounce it, in numerous matches with Manchester United, he played a 3-5-2. He started out with that. He sees his team's he's not really picking up the pace. They're not really playing how he wants them to play. Switches the formation, bam, they win. We saw against QPR, 2-0, they won after switching their formation. But we're not here to talk about Manchester United. We're here to talk about AC Milan. Obviously worse off than Manchester United at the moment. But they don't spend as much money. But yeah, just overall the game, we could have improved in every aspect. Could have improved in the midfield. The midfield was a bit weak. They weren't really supplying the attack. The attack was playing as individuals, as I said previously. The fullbacks weren't at their best. The center backs weren't at their best. And Diego Lopez. He's always saving Milan, whether the team is playing good or bad. We could have lost this match by much more goals, like every match, if we didn't have Diego Lopez. So got to give a thanks to him. And overall, if you ask me, player of the match has to be Bonaventura. Also, Diego Lopez was great as well. But Bonaventura is one of the few players today who actually created something on his own. He had shots on net with our ridiculous, 70% possession. And he made something out of his chances. He created, like I said. So I think the man of the match has to go to Bonaventura, at least for Milan side. But yeah, overall match, very disgusting performance. Could have been much better for Milan, but it wasn't, sadly. Hope you guys enjoyed my little rant. Should Inzaghi go out? Leave it down below. I don't think he'll be leaving anytime soon. But if you do feel it, leave it down below. Do you think Inzaghi should go? Were Milan wrong to get rid of Seedorf? Even though his personal problems, would you prefer him? Who do you prefer best? Even Allegri back then, you could argue that he was doing even better than Inzaghi's doing now. But leave it down below. What do you think about the match? Leave a like if you enjoyed my mini rant review over Milan Atalanta, as I said, which ended 1-0. And subscribe for entertainment on this dark and gloomy Milan. Watch our videos, obviously, for, as I said, some entertainment, because I think we need to be a little bit enlightened from these dark moments. Of course, you can say it's just a sport, but for us, it's our life. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. It's been Adamo from Rossoneri TV, and as usual, Forza Milan.